Are you a coach who's having troubles getting leads into your business? Or if you are generating leads, are the leads very expensive and continue to increase in costs? If yes, then I have a training that you are going to want to watch. In this video, I went ahead, I just did a mastermind inside of my coaching mastermind community, and I broke down the one tool that coaches need to be implementing into their business in order to get more leads for cheaper. So if you're interested in learning about how you can implement the same thing into your business, then make sure to stay tuned, and we're going to jump in right now. Today, obviously, we're going to be talking about how to go ahead and get more leads, cost less money for each one of your leads. The way we're going to go ahead and do that is through a lead magnet. So just because I want to make sure that I am going to kind of go through, I have some content that I've planned that I'd like to go ahead and cover, but I would like it to be as customized to you as possible, put on, and obviously anybody else who happens to jump in at a later date and time. So fill me in a little bit more. Where are you at with your business, and how can this next, let's call it 50 minutes, be the most valuable to you?
I've done some affiliate marketing classes. I've also done a lot of work on myself over the last few years. So I'm
Okay.
looking to actually start a men's coaching business.
Okay. Awesome. So men's coaching business, and what specific aspect of men's coaching?
Well, just the general mental health.
Okay. Mental health. So helping men overcome any specific part of it, people that have gone through certain aspects, or just kind of understanding how to make it all work, or
Make it all work, and also um, bringing the masculinity out, because in a lot of society it's actually been suppressed.
yeah, it's either you're too much masculine or you're not masculine enough, and it's a little confusing for some guys, I'm sure. And also,
Yes,
unfortunately, true masculinity does not seem to be too prevalent these days.
yes.
So, okay, awesome. So that's where you
And,
are.
and particularly the safe masculinity.
Yep, absolutely. Well, genuine masculinity, right? This is my definition
Yes,
of, you have a protector, you have a provider, you have a person who says what he's going to go ahead and do, and all these different things. When you have true masculinity, you have something that's good for society, not a negative thing, is how I.
yes,
So,
yes, but also have some of the aspects where they can attributes where they can actually have feelings, show feelings and emotions, which in the past men were told they didn't have feelings.
correct. Absolutely. Okay, cool. So that's what you're looking to go ahead and help men with. Specific age range, demographic, or anything?
I'm probably 30 years old and above to start with.
Okay, awesome. So we'll say 30 to 50 is like the ideal client, 30 to 45.
30 to 50, yes, fine, yes.
Okay, cool. So 30 to 50, helping men discover true masculinity, mental health, understand the right mix of both, being that lead masculine dominant man versus also understanding your feelings, your emotions, and how to kind of all put it together in today's confusing environment.
Yes,
We get
and also create an environment where they actually have time with other men
mm,
rather than sucking their time away with television and everything else.
yeah, that's a very good point. Okay. So, and as of right now, nothing has been created. You're in the process of just about to get launched, correct?
I've done the at JC Smith
Okay.
school community,
Nice.
and I've actually created a funnel, and based on their work, I've actually created a document as well.
A document.
Well,
Okay.
it was just a 4 or 5 page document, but I'm going to have to rewrite that because that's not what I want to do. But it was
When you say
just
document, what do you mean?
it was like a freebie, a free report.
Got it. Okay.
3 reasons for the reason you don't feel the way you do, type of thing.
Okay. Cool. So essentially, that's a lead magnet that
Yes.
they encourage you to build. You're not really feeling, it doesn't feel as genuine or the thing that you would like to share with your ideal client, it sounds like.
No, it was really just a first off, but I really want to go back and relook at it and redraft it.
Okay. Cool. So I'll keep all of those things in mind. Is there anything in specific that you're really looking to take away from today's mastermind? Obviously, you showed up, you're spending your time to be here. What specifically do you want to learn?
I think that you were mentioning about, did you say low cost?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
that was what was the lead magnet for me this time, was the talking about the low cost leads.
Okay, perfect. So we'll go ahead and we'll talk about that. Anything else before I kind of hop in? I will kind of probably touch back upon you on a couple of different things, but majority of this is going to be more focused on kind of running through this stuff. And then at the end, what I'll do is also kind of, hey, where are you feeling? What questions do you have? And I want to make sure I correctly pronounce your name. Piran?
Heron,
Perrin. Got it. Okay.
yes.
Perrin. Okay. Anything else that you feel would be helpful for me to kind of tailor this to you?
I come from a tech background, so I'm very tech savvy. So
Awesome.
I've got access to Go High Level,
Awesome.
and I didn't realize until last week that there's actually the communities available in Go High Level, very similar to school.
In regards to support and understand how to better use the platform, or in
Well, it's
regards
actually
to
there.
creating
It's
communities.
actually
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like school was founded on open source software, and basically Go High Level have got obviously a version that's not as good as school, but it's got a lot of the functionality.
Go High Level is far from perfect. What Go High Level does fantastic with is they find the things that people like, their consumers, and they
Yes,
fall into one platform. I've been using Go High Level since 2020, and
yes.
they just continually add more and more and more, and it's pretty cool how they're doing it. So,
Yeah, I moved away from ClickFunnels and having Aweber.
yep, awesome. Okay. So, with that said, nothing else as of right now. I'll go ahead and I'll kind of hop into this exact topic, correct?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Okay. So, for obviously you, Perrin,
Yes.
and everybody else watching today, what we're going to be discussing is how to generate more leads, how to make your leads cost less money. And the way that we're going to go ahead and do that today is by talking about creating lead magnets. So the main points that we're going to be discussing today is, first of all, what is a lead magnet? Why is a lead magnet important? And then how can we go ahead and leverage and utilize this to both, as I said before, generate more leads and decrease the cost of your leads. So this is going to be the foundational piece of kind of understanding what this is and how it can be beneficial. Then from then on the back end, we're going to go ahead and be talking about actually making a lead magnet. I'm going to break down what types of lead magnets you can go ahead and create and everything like that. And pairing with you as well, we'll go ahead and kind of brainstorm some things that you could do for your coaching business too. So with that said, the very first one that I do want to talk about is this one right here. So what is a lead magnet? So essentially, whenever a lead magnet, and we think about these things, we want to understand what's the purpose of a lead magnet. Also as well, Caitlin, welcome. I see you joined here. The purpose of a lead magnet is essentially just as kind of the name sounds, right? We're trying to attract, like a magnet, our ideal client into us. And we're trying to go ahead and typically give them this lead magnet, give them something of value in exchange for their name, phone number, and email. And the reason why we're wanting to do this, and I'm going to go super basic. One of my biggest philosophies and favorite quotes, actually, I'll take it even a step further back, is Albert Einstein, that says, if you cannot explain something simply, then you do not understand it enough. And so what I like to do is I like to try to demystify the coaching business, because it's really not that difficult to go and create a successful coaching business. So what I'm going to do today is kind of break this down a little bit easier for us. So a lead magnet, the purpose is just to go ahead and attract. And the main reason why we're wanting to attract and then also convert our ideal client to give us their name, their phone number, and their email. And we all know it. The reason why is because unless we have these things, unless we have a form of communication with someone, we can't go ahead and do business. We can't go ahead and give them to know what value we have. We cannot go ahead and sell them into our programs, our services, whatever it is. So that's the whole purpose of the lead magnet, right? To attract the person, then to convert them in order to give us their name, phone number, and email. So within that, I'm going to keep it really, really simple. And then I'm going to kind of dive into more of the details after. Okay. So that in short is a lead magnet. Okay. So now the question is, okay, we have this lead magnet. What are we going to go ahead and do, and why is it important? We talked about why it's important because it's a way that we can go ahead and get the name, phone number, email for people. A lot of coaches I see, they make these lead magnets, they think it's great, and then they just stick it up on a website. And don't get me wrong, I think if you make a lead magnet, it should go on your website, but they put it up on their website just expecting, oh, I'm going to go have people come and I'm going to start making so much money just because I made this free ebook, because I made this community, because I made this, because I made that, whatever it is. One of the biggest things that we also need to keep in mind is that the lead magnet is simply part one of the process. Once we go ahead and we have this lead magnet created, then we actually need to go ahead and get traffic over to this lead magnet. And there's 4 different ways that we can go ahead and essentially get traffic, right? Or we'll go ahead and we'll say get leads, okay? So within that, we have outreach, we have content, and we have ads. Okay. And what we want to go ahead and see this as is you could be the most skilled coach in the world, but if nobody has any clue who you are or the value that you can go and provide, nothing's going to go ahead and happen. So once that we've created our lead magnet and we've gone ahead and done that, now we want to actually get eyeballs. We want to get attention to this. We could do this by doing outreach of either cold or warm. Cold being direct outreach, let's call it on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever you choose and please. That's cold outreach to people that you don't know. Warm outreach is utilizing your existing client lists, let's say emails, phone numbers, followers on social media sites. And then content is simply obviously just putting the content out, and then ads, we understand we put an advertisement in front of someone. Now, why in the world am I talking about traffic when we're here to discuss decreasing costs and getting more leads? The reason why is because you could have a phenomenal lead magnet. If you do not get traffic in front of that lead magnet, it will cost for nothing. Once again, whether we're talking about your coaching, whether we're talking about your lead magnet, if you do not get eyeballs, and not only eyeballs, but the right eyeballs in front of your lead magnet, it is completely pointless. Okay. Now, let's assume, because obviously today's topic is more focused on the lead magnet, not as much the traffic, but I needed to go ahead and just make it crystal clear that we need to eventually get some traffic to it. Now, coming back to it within our lead magnet, we're going to talk a little later of how we actually go ahead and make our first lead magnet. Before we get to that point, I do want to mention just something that's important in understanding the lead magnet. Once again, the purpose of the lead magnet is to get the person to convert, right? Give this person this lead magnet in exchange for their name, phone number, and email. Now, Perrin, when we were talking before, you explained how you're looking to go ahead and help men age 30 to 50 really understand true masculinity, master their mind, and all of these different things. Now, for your coaching business, yes, you want to get as many leads as you can, but in the same sense, if you go ahead and you're generating leads and they are 18-year-old girls or 75-year-old women, it's not really your ideal client. It doesn't really serve you. So within that, we also need to obviously, as the foundation of everything, we need to get crystal clear. Who is your ideal client? Karen, when we were talking before, if you notice, I asked you a couple of different questions about, okay, what age? What are things that they're facing? Because the more that we understand our ideal client, the more we could know what they deem to be valuable and what they deem not to be valuable. We understand the questions that they have inside of their head. So as we're going ahead and talking about, right, because we're talking about what is a lead magnet. We've covered that at a high level, okay? Why it's important. We talked about that because it's going to go ahead and help us generate more leads, right? And it's going to go ahead and decrease our cost. Now, how in the world does that happen? I'm going to cover more in a second. But as we're looking to go ahead and get this lead magnet into the hands of our ideal clients, our prospects, and get them to give us their name, phone number, and email as the conversion, we really need to get crystal clear. What do these people deem to be valuable? What are the biggest things? And not only what is the actual problem that they're facing, but what is their perceived problem? And Perrin and Caitlin, I do like to keep it interactive and want to make sure it's as valuable as possible. Have you guys ever heard of the value equation?
Yes.
Okay, you have. Perfect. From Alex Ramosi.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. So, Caitlin.
I've read both of his books. So
okay, amazing. So you're going to understand a lot of the foundations of this. So as we're going ahead and doing this, right, you want to understand what is the outcome, what is the perceived, we'll call it likelihood. And then on the bottom, we obviously have the time, and then we also have the effort. So as you're making your lead magnet, Perrin, I know that you talked about making a document and everything like that. One of the biggest things based on what you shared with me is, okay, it's not, I know it's a first draft. You're still going to get something started. That's the most important. You're just putting something out there. But as we're looking at this, what is the outcome that your ideal client, men age 30 to 50, what are they really desiring? What are the problems that they're facing? And how can you within your lead magnet make it crystal clear that by having this lead magnet, they can go ahead and get closer to this outcome, right? Because ultimately, if you're not hitting the mark when it comes to the outcome that they're looking for, they're not going to go ahead and click on it. Okay. So whenever we're making the lead magnet, and like I said before, this isn't rocket science. It's not crazy, but I can tell you to make a successful coaching business, it doesn't take rocket science to go ahead and make it happen. So we have the lead magnet. First step is we first need to understand our ideal client. What are the problems that they're facing? What are they coming across? And what are the solutions that they're really looking for? Okay. So we go ahead and we understand that. And now we're going to go ahead and make sure that this lead magnet that we're creating directly speaks to what is valuable to the ideal client that we're looking for. And this value equation, as you know, Perrin, you've read Alex's books, it it plays both in when it comes to lead magnets, it plays when it comes into creating coaching programs, it plays with everything. Okay. So coming back here, right? We've talked about what is a lead magnet. We've talked about it's important because it helps us generate more leads. It helps us decrease our cost. Okay. The way I'm going to go ahead and show you when it comes to decreasing cost, I'm going to do some math on the fly here. Okay. Because one of the biggest reasons why you said that you're here, Perrin, is to understand how do I get lower cost leads, right?
Yeah, more cost effective leads. Yeah.
More cost effective leads, right? Still getting valuable leads, but let's say they're previously $20. You'd love for if you can get them for $10, right? Is the ideal scene. So we're going to play out two scenarios. Okay. Scenario one, and then we'll call this scenario two over here. So when it comes to marketing, there's a couple of different things that we're going to go ahead and consider. Okay. And I'm going to kind of move this over because I don't want to have to double write all of these things. Okay. So we have the amount of money that you're going to spend on ads. Now there's something called CPM. And what CPM stands for is cost per million. And what that means is how much does it cost for you to put your advertisement in front of 1,000 eyeballs of the audience that you're targeting. Okay. So this will vary based on each niche. I have some clients that I work with where they have a CPM of $30. If you're looking at, for example, targeting coaches and consultants, you're looking closer to, let's call it 70 to even $80. Okay. And this will all make sense in a minute as to why I'm sharing this with you. Okay. So we have how much we're going to spend on ads. We have the cost per million, cost to get in front of 1,000 people. Then we have the impressions. Okay. And I'm going to use the technical terms because I want you to have an understanding, but I'm going to break it down. Okay. Impression just mean how many eyeballs are you actually getting to see this? So for example, if let's just call it $30 just to keep our number easy. If I spend $30 and my cost per million is 30, then I'm going to get 1,000 eyeballs to go ahead and look at me. Okay. Now from there, the next statistic that we're going to want to look at is going to be your click-through rate. So how many people that see my ad actually click on my ad? Let's call this 2%. Okay. So 2% of 1,000 is going to result in 20 clicks. Okay. So we have 20 people that clicked it. Now, the next thing that we're going to want to look at is our conversion of the page. Okay. So you go ahead and you get 20 people onto your conversion page for your lead magnet or whatever it is, right? Your funnel. And then we just got to understand, what is that percentage? Is it 5%? Is it 30%? Right? It can go a lot of different ways. For this specific scenario, I'm just going to make this a little smaller and move it and also to keep numbers easy. Let's call it 20%. Okay. Which means that you got 20 people that actually click and land on your page. 20% of them are actually going to convert, which means you got 4 opt-ins. Okay. So from a marketing perspective, you spent $30 and you got 4 opt-ins, you got 4 conversions. Okay. Now, as we go ahead and conversions being a lead, right? A name, phone number, and email. I'll even put lead here just so it's crystal clear. Now, as we're looking at that, right? We have the cost per lead of, let's say it's going to be 30 divided by 4, which is just over, just to keep numbers easy, we'll call it $7 per lead, right? So that's how much in scenario one it costs. Now, why in the world am I bringing this up as we're talking about lead magnets? We're talking about how do you make it cheaper to go ahead and get your leads. Now, as you're crafting your lead magnet, yes, of course, as I shared before, Perrin and Caitlin, we want to keep it as a lot of coaches, they fail to take action because they feel it needs to be perfect. They feel that, oh, I need to do this right and this right, or I need to learn this skill. One of the most important things is just getting started. Because once you get started, you'll get momentum, you'll improve, you'll fall down, you'll learn lessons. And the beautiful part behind it is you'll have statistics to then tell you, okay, where is my hole in the boat? Where can I go ahead and improve? So let's go ahead and say this is scenario one. This is you launching. Now we're wanting to determine how do we actually get more opt-ins, and at a cheaper lead is the biggest thing that we've been talking about, right? So let's take the same exact statistics. We're going to spend $30. It's going to be a cost per million, same audience of $30. Therefore, we're going to get in front of 1,000 people. And our click-through rate is really dependent on our ad, right? I mean, it can, if you go ahead and you're advertising your lead magnet, right? It actually can go ahead and do that if you're having the right messaging, if you understand your ideal client and what it is. So let's say it's not a massive jump, but let's say instead of 2%, let's say you have a 2.5% click-through rate, just because you're actually advertising that. Once again, right? When we're talking about the lead magnet, we need to understand, what does our ideal client want? What do they deem to be valuable? So as we're coming here on your ad, you're actually going to talk about something that they think in their eyes, it's valuable and they want to go ahead and do. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to have a click-through rate of 2.5% of people that say, hey, I'm interested in learning more, which means that we're going to go ahead and get 25 people to land on your sales page. Cool. Or your landing page. Okay. Now we have that. And this is where the real money is going to go ahead and come in and the biggest difference. Now, we previously had a conversion, as we saw right here, of 20%. But that's just like, let's say, an average lead magnet. It's not super exciting. It's not really something that's great to them. So instead of that, let's say we make something that's really awesome that they really enjoy. And we go from a 20% conversion into 40%. Okay. So that math right there, you have 8, 2, we have 10 people that we have now. Actually, no, it should be no, because we also included that. So it is 10. My math was right, but it's not percent. It's 10 opt-ins. Okay. Which means that we previously spent $30 and we got 4 leads at about $7 a lead. Now we spent $30, we got 10 leads, and we're currently generating leads at $3 a lead. Right. So, Perrin, one of the biggest things that you said before is I'm here because I want to understand how I can go ahead and get cheaper leads. This is it right here. A lot of coaches, they come and they're like, oh, I got to improve this. I got to improve that. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me this percentage. Tell me that percentage. And they're like, what? And my response back to them is, if you really want to understand, and you said that you came from the IT space, people in that space have a tendency to be very statistics and numbers oriented. So I'm assuming you probably have this perspective too, but just for everyone that's watching, Caitlin, whether it be you or people that are watching the recording, if you are really serious about wanting to grow your business, you need to make sure that you have statistics to track the metrics to get an understanding of where the holes in the boat are. Because I could go ahead and tell both you, Caitlin, and you too, Perrin, of, hey, okay, so in your coaching business, you got to do this and this and this and this and this. I can name 100 different things that you could do right now. But ultimately, if you're doing really great on generating the leads, but you're doing absolutely atrocious on sales and actually converting on the back end, why in the world would I go ahead and recommend you to put more resources, to learn more about improving your leads, to do all of these different things? Maybe it's not what you need right now. When you go to the doctor's office, they don't just tell you, hey, oh, my knee hurts. Okay, step 1, just take these meds. They don't talk. It doesn't work like that. The doctor comes and says, okay, where's the problem? Tell me a little bit more about this. Tell me a little bit more about that. Same exact thing runs with your coaching business. We have to understand, what are the statistics? Where's the biggest hole in the boat? So I'm going on a bunch of different stuff. I know, Caitlin, you have your camera off, you have your mic off. If you can, do me a favor. If you're liking this stuff, I haven't done paid ads lead to date. What is the minimum spend you'd recommend starting with? I'll give you some background, and then I will go ahead and tell you my recommendation. There's a person that I was actually just on the phone with. He was a younger guy wanting to go ahead and get into coaching, and he didn't have the funds because someone told him that he needed $2,000 a month to go ahead and start running paid ads. Now, when we're talking about paid ads, all that we're simply doing, right? Because we came up here earlier, we talked about the 3 different ways that you could generate traffic, right? We talked about outreach, we talked about content, we talked about ads. Why am I saying this? And am I talking about this now? Because all that you're doing when you're running paid ads, you're just simply putting a message in front of your ideal client. You have to think about it, right? We talked about traffic. We could also probably just call this attention, right? What's the way that you're getting in front of your ideal client? What's the way that you're garnishing attention? Are you sending them a text message in warm outreach because you already have their number? Are you reaching out to them cold on Facebook to get their attention? Are you going ahead and making some piece of valuable content on Instagram to go ahead and get their attention? Or are you paying to go ahead and get the ads? So there are a lot of different ways that you can go ahead and get these people's attention. The reason why I so heavily advocate for ads is because this right here, and of course you could do with outreach and content, you can do these numbers right here, but paid ads makes it so easy. You say, okay, I'm going to spend $30. The average cost per million in my industry is going to be $30. That's going to lead me to 1,000 impressions. My click-through rate is going to vary on me. And then you actually have a statistical thing that you can have consistency within your business. If you say, okay, I want to go ahead and get 4x the leads, assuming your click-through rate and your conversion stays the same. If you want 4 times the leads, you just 4x your spend. You're spending $120 now. So that's the real value of why I like paid ads and why I recommend it for people to do it. Now, your question is what's the minimum spend that you'd recommend for people? The reason why you want a minimum spend is because it's very difficult to make decisions if you do not have information, if you do not understand whether something works or not. So if you're spending $5 per day on one of these ads, right, that would be $150 a month. Okay, $150 a month. That is going to go ahead and get you in front of 5,000 people in this example scenario, which isn't terrible. Don't get me wrong, but you go ahead and you do the conversion down, you're going to have 10 leads, right? So as we're going ahead And I'm double checking my math. I might be completely wrong with this. But as a whole, though, the hard part is that if you have a very low ad spend, then you will not be able to get sufficient data to know, does this work or does this not work? The minimum, to answer your question directly now, is I would recommend at least $500 a month to go ahead and run paid ads. The thing I'll tell people is, once again, there are many ways that you could generate leads: outreach, content, and ads. The biggest question is where's the best allocation of your time and your resources? Because if you can go, for example, work some job and make $500 and you have ads, and now on the back end, you're actually starting to generate leads. And then you have emails that nurture them, and you have a community, and you actually start getting on phone calls, and that leads into demos, and that leads into closes. It would often make sense for people to go ahead and run ads. So that was a very long-winded explanation of the different types of ways to generate leads, why I like paid ads, and how much I would go ahead and recommend in order to start with paid ads. I'd recommend $500 a month would be my minimum starting spend. Caitlin, does that answer your question for you? And I'll go ahead and kind of continue going along on it. Perrin, is this making sense? Is this helpful? Is this the direction that you're kind of looking for and give you insights to what you're wanting?
Yes, it is. It's good. It's good.
Okay, sweet.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. So as we're coming back, right, to the very beginning, we talked about a lot of different things. Okay. What is a lead magnet? We covered that at a very high level. We talked about why it's important because it can go ahead and help us generate more leads at a decreased cost. Now, the next thing I do want to talk about is actually making your lead magnet. We kind of talked about these at a high level, right? And all that it really is, as I said, it's not rocket science. And one of the biggest things that coaches do not have as much emphasis on is really understanding the ideal client. Like I said before, not only what the problem is that they're facing, but what is their perceived problem? Because people buy things in order to solve problems. So if someone doesn't think that they have this problem, why in the world would they ever give their name, phone number, and email? Yeah, they're not paying you in cash, but they're paying you in the fact of they know they're probably going to get emails. They know that they're probably going to get phone calls, right? So they're paying to some degree. Why in the world would they ever pay if it's something that they wouldn't? I would never go ahead. Let's say, for example, there's a program that helps grandmas be a better grandma, as an example. I wouldn't. Why in the world would I ever opt in for that? I wouldn't. So ultimately, coming back to it, once again, we need to understand what is valuable to our ideal client and go ahead and craft something around it. Now, that's part number one, okay, of understanding what is actual content that we're going to go ahead and understand. Another thing that we also need to consider, and I'll use your example, Perrin, of 30 to 50-year-olds, how do they consume content? Right? If you go ahead and you take someone that's 75 years old in comparison to a 20-year-old today, the way that they like to consume content is very different. A 75-year-old is much more apt to have some sort of ebook or read something or an article or something like that, or get something physical. In comparison to a 20-year-old, they're like, yeah, just like put it in a video or like in an audio, something like that, right? So that's another thing that we also need to consider is how are we going to deliver this value? Like, what's the method of delivery? Okay, so that's number one, or I say number two. Inside of that too, we also need to consider from your perspective too, because if you're going to go ahead and make a lead magnet that's going to cost you a crazy amount of time, a crazy amount of money to do, absolutely you can do it. But there are a lot of people out there that will build without getting any sort of validation first. So that's the reason why I love paid ads, because instead of me spending hours and hours and hours going ahead and sending a bunch of messages to someone, I can go ahead and I could spend, right? So let's say I want to get this, instead of spending $30, let's actually maybe use some bigger numbers. That's more real. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and change these. I made a duplicate. Okay. So let's say, and I was going to go over to an Excel, but it's okay. Let's say I spend $1,000. Okay. To go ahead and do that. Now, as we're looking at that, the cost to go ahead and get in front of 1,000 people is, tell me if my numbers are right. If I spent $30 on that, that would be 30,000 people or something about, let's see. I don't have a calculator here. I'll do it right here. Okay. 1,000 divided by 0.3. Interesting. I could go ahead and do it. Cost per million is the impression multiplied by 1,000. Oh, that's why. Okay. Yeah, it was 33,000 is what it was. So we're going to go ahead and get in front of 33,000 people. So the beautiful part behind that, I'm coming back to even you, Caitlin, as well, because you said, okay, I've never done paid ads lead to date. Instead of me going ahead and sending 33,000 messages to get in front of 33,000 of my possible ideal clients. I can spend $1,000 or maybe even just remove a zero if that's not within the budget or whatever it is, right? And now you're at 330. Okay. I could literally within the next hour have an ad up and running and do it. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Chris. A lot of you leave comments and send DMs to me telling me that you need help. Do me a favor. I'm going to tell you the best way to get a hold of me. Shoot me a text message right now at 949-990-5808. Once again, that's 949-990-5808. I'll help you with whatever you guys need. I got your back. Let's get back to the video. And so that's the real beautiful part behind it and why it's also big to move with speed. So as we're seeking to make our lead magnet, okay, what is the content? What does our ideal client really deem to be valuable? What's the way that they like to go ahead and deliver it? And then from them, based on the statistics, we go ahead and we make adjustments. And even we go ahead and also talk to our ideal client. We talk to our audience. What do they like? What do they don't like? One of the, I should say almost exclusively, there are some instances where we go a complete different direction, absolutely. But a lot of the coaches I work with as a lead magnet, it worked with you guys. What I recommend for people to do is a school community or a community of some sort. Why is that the case? Number one, it's something that typically most people seem to be as valuable, right? You're sharing content, you're sharing information inside of it, which is what they want, number one. Number two, in today's society, it's very seldom, especially in a space like this, where you have coaches that are striving to become more, that are looking to make their online business. It's not as common. So finding that sense of community around them to where they could go out and be surrounded by like-minded individuals that want to help others, that want to make money, that want to make a positive impact in the world is difficult. So it's something that coaches, that you guys, I'm assuming, deem to be valuable. And another reason why I also like communities is because now, as I'm getting on these calls, I'm able to have conversations with my ideal client. I'm able to understand what are the things that they're facing. What are the problems that they are saying that they feel that they're having that is holding them back from being successful, right? And on top of that too, not only just the problem, but also what vocabulary are they using? Now, why is that important? Because we went ahead and came up here on all these numbers, right? If someone resonates, right, with your ad, they're going to go ahead and they're going to click on it, our click-through rate. If I get words that you're just sitting in your head and you're thinking, and I say that to you, you're like, wait, what? Is this guy like talking right to me? Like, oh, wait, I need to click on this, right? And that leads to more down the funnel, right? We saw how it changed, just a 0.5% on your click-through rate. And yes, of course, this is a big jump. This is a double thing. But look how much it did. It brought us from $7 a lead to down to $3 a lead, right? In this one example that we went ahead and had. So as we're coming back to it, that's one of the best lead magnets that especially in today's environment, because not only does it give us, right, something that we can give as valuable to the person, number one, to the ideal client. In this case, we're talking about coaches in my example here. Number two, it gives you a better understanding of your ideal client, which does what? It helps in all aspects, helps in marketing, it helps in sales, it helps in delivery, it helps in all these different facets, because now, instead of me just going ahead and having conversations with the coaches I work with, the coaches I get on calls with, I have hundreds of coaches that are here inside of my group that are asking questions, that are DMing me, that are doing all of these different things. And I'm just collecting more and more information about the problems that that coaches are facing. I bring this up not just to talk about me and my business, but I want to relate it back to you guys. So parent, especially for you, we talk about in the beginning, it's a massive situation, a massive problem that society is facing, because there's this weird gap of like men are being demasculinized as a whole. Then there's also like if you come too masculine, then they're going to go ahead and call you toxic, right? But then you also have people, as I said, are completely demasculinized and are not masculine to any degree. And they feel like stuck, especially even young guys too, let's say. So within that, how can you go ahead and maybe make a community to where you can provide value to people? It's completely free. And it's helping you do a couple of things. Number one, you're getting name, phone numbers, and emails, right? Because just as we talked about the statistics, this is a marketing statistic, right? If we were to go ahead and do the same exact thing, I'm going to add a page below. Okay, we're going to call this scenario 1, scenario 2. We have the same exact thing. Okay, cool. We went ahead and generated a lead of some sort. Cool. How many of them did we get in communication with? Right? Common. I'm going to do the other way around. In communication. IN com. Cool. Now, from then, we'll say the percentage. And then we'll actually say, how many people do we actually get in communication with? And I'll literally give you guys the stuff that I'm doing with my existing clients right now. Feel free, run with it. Absolutely. What we'll typically do is we'll run them into a school community, and then we'll offer a free value call. No strings attached, not selling anything like that. You guys probably even saw a message from me when you joined school saying, hey, go ahead, let's book a free value call. And it's true. We're going to go ahead and do a value call. Okay. So what's the percentage of people that go ahead and get onto a value call? Cool. Then we go ahead and we have a certain number that are going to get on a value call. And then a certain percentage of them are going to say, because at the end of the value call, we're going to say, hey, obviously, like I told you, there's no selling. I just want to provide as much value to you. If there's a way that I could really help you get from where you are now to where you want to be, though, is that something that you'd be open to working together, getting coaching, and just hopping on a call to see if that's something you'd like? A certain percentage of people say, yeah, especially if you give them a lot of value, right? So you're going to have a percentage of that. And then you're going to go ahead and have a certain number of people that get onto a demo. And then you're going to have a close rate, right? Which is a percentage. And then you're going to have a number of closes. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's use these examples we said before. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a 0 to these just to make it easier for us, because I want to do this. Okay. So 40 leads and 100 leads. Okay. So let's say we got 40 leads and we got 100 leads. Okay. Let's say out of all the people, we actually only get in communication with 25% of them. Cool. Which means that 25% of 40 is 10 people. Okay. Now, of those 10 people, let's say 50% of them like, hey, yeah, you know what? I really appreciate it, Chris. Let's get on a call, which means 5 people are actually going to get on a call with me. At the end of the call, I'm going to go ahead and have, let's call it, I'm trying to choose an easy number. So we have 5, let's call it 80%, just to get a very high number that's easy for me. Okay. Out of that 80%, or even we could just do this to make it actually, okay, let's say 60%. Okay. So 3 people are going to go ahead and get on a call with me. Awesome. And then I go ahead and let's say this person has a 33% closing rate, which means they're going to close 1 person. Once again, guys, if you're really serious about wanting to grow your business, it's all about statistics. And that's the first thing. If I ever start working with a coach that is already doing something, I say, okay, let's look at the statistics. Let's get an understanding. Where's the biggest hole in the boat? And how can we go ahead and do this? Because now we could go ahead and here's the really cool part. We spent 100, I added a 0 on this and it was there. So it would be $300, right? Because that's the number that we had in the beginning, right? $300 led us to 40 leads in this one example. Now, the 40 lead ended up leading into 1 close. Okay, let's say that you're charging $5,000 for your coaching business. You spent $300 to get $5,000. I don't know about you, but that's a pretty good trade. I would continue to make all day, every day. So, but before I continue, because I know that we're here to talk about lead magnets and I want to give you a full scope of everything and really also make sure that I'm kind of giving the value that you guys are looking for. Caitlin, I know you haven't turned your mic on. So if you could either mic on or in the chat, and also you too, Perrin, is this a direction? Is this helpful? Is this what you're looking for?
Yeah, I think it's helpful to see the full funnel and kind of like the stats. I guess this is a little different than I've seen it run in the past. I was curious too, like, does the ads work on any platform, or do you recommend Facebook, Chris?
It will depend on your audience of what you're doing. Nearly every single person I work with, it's Facebook, just because that's where the most people are. And it's not only Facebook. So Facebook also owns Instagram. So you run it on Facebook and Instagram, your choice.
Yeah.
We're going to add something, Perrin?
Yeah, I was going to say this makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of communities where there's like a free community and then there's a paid community, and a lot of them are saying step 3, arrange a call or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even think about this. Like I told you too, it's just, and now the really beautiful part, once you actually have these statistics, it's not difficult. What I'll typically do is like, I have these in Excel sheets, right? In Google Sheets. So when I go ahead and I do this, all the rest of the numbers populate, just for the fact of right now, I'm just obviously doing it writing. Now, when we're coming back at this though, this is, as I shared with you, the very first thing I do with these coaches is I go ahead and I look at the statistics. Because if I'm seeing that you're only getting, instead of 25%, let's say you're only getting in communication with 5% of people, that destroys everything else, right? So we know that's the hole in the boat. That's the break in it. Let's go ahead and fix it. So that's the beautiful part, because now it's no longer just guessing. Okay, is this going to work? Is it not going to work? Right? So.
And I think one of the benefits of school is that people just organically find the communities as well.
Absolutely. That's 100% true. So like I said, regardless of whatever the direction, paid ads, organic, everything like that. And there's a lot of different ways, like I said, that you can go ahead and make lead magnets. Examples of lead magnets. I know, for example, you, Perrin, you said that you went ahead and made a document. We'll essentially call that an ebook, right? You could
Yes.
have some sort of free training that you can go ahead and do.
It was one way to make sure you captured the contact details.
You said it was not capturing contact details?
Yeah, it was the best way, because I would only send the ebook out if they typed in their name and an email address.
Yep, exactly. So that's, and essentially it's just, you see some sort of ad, right? And it's the same thing that you guys came here, right? You came on an ad, then you came on the landing page. I'll just say landing here. You're asked for your name, your phone number, and your email, right? You ask for those things, or you can add whatever you want. Even, for example, with me, I go ahead and I ask also, hey, where are you at with your coaching business? Why is that the case? Because I'm trying to get an understanding of the people I'm attracting with each one of these ads, right? Because that's the cool part. Inside of your ad, I can go ahead and say, okay, this is the person I'm looking to target, whether it be someone that's just new, whether it be someone that's 1 to 5K, 5 to 10K, someone that's doing 100K, and different messages will resonate with different people. So that's the reason why also within your landing page, you can add different questions on it. And also you could understand of who is resonating with your lead magnet, right? Which is just, you get more statistics to get an understanding where the biggest hole in the boat. So coming back into, I know, Perrin, one of the biggest things you said in the very beginning is, I want to understand, how do I decrease my cost per lead? How do I get cheaper leads? I know that I gave you this whole diagram here of talking about the CTR and the impression, because essentially your CPM, right? And am I getting too technical right now, or is this making sense in the way that I'm breaking it down?
It's fine. I understand all these terms.
Okay, cool. So you understand all these different terms and everything like that. What a good lead magnet will do, right? And not only with the lead magnet, how are you communicating? How are you putting the copy about this lead magnet? That will increase your click-through rate. It will increase your landing page conversions. That eventually then leads into the leads. That obviously, now we talked about the same thing, right? You went from $300 spent from $4 leads to 10 leads. It's literally something as simple as that. And that's the beautiful part behind it. There's even, for example, there's a client that I just started with. We're doing pretty well. He literally joined 3.5 weeks ago. We've closed $10,000, and we were on a call yesterday, and he's saying, hey, I have these leads, XYZ. And I'm like, look, we can improve the leads, but we're currently getting leads for like $3.80 a lead right now. Your click-through rate's good. Your conversion's good. Don't get me wrong. Can we go ahead and improve X, Y, and Z about all of this? Yes. But let's put more attention on the sales piece, because that's where we're losing more people right now. I'd much rather you spend more time making sales calls, getting people on demos and doing all of that, rather than let's brainstorm ideas that we can go ahead and optimize. Don't get me wrong. We will optimize this, but what's the biggest hole in the boat right now that we want to focus on, especially in the early stages? This guy's brand new as a coach, and he's wanting to get an understanding of how to actually get this going. So that's the beautiful part behind it when it comes to actually having the statistics on it. Caitlin, I see here that you asked a question. How do you decide what to put in your free community versus your paid community? That is a great question. And I know, Perrin, you said that you follow Alex Hormozi. And one of the things that he says is people will judge you based on what you're putting in front of them. This includes the content you have in your free community. This includes your lead magnet. This includes the stuff you put on social media, everything. We have to always remember we are constantly being judged. What do I mean by that? Little things. If I were to come up to you, Perrin, and be, Perrin, my name's Chris Berry. I would really like to work with you to help you grow your coaching business. You're like, okay, cool, Chris. This is really awesome. Do me a favor. Just send me an email and we can go ahead and schedule a time. If I sent you an email that said, I love coaching at gmail.com, but I told you I'd made all this money and done all of that, is that something that would kind of match up and lead you to be like, okay, yeah, Chris is the guy?
Not really, no.
Of course. So within that, our presentation, and here's the thing too, because I had a client one time, and now whenever I work with clients, I just do it for them. I had a client that came to me. He was doing about $125,000 a year with his coaching business. He spent $25,000 in 7 months getting a clear understanding of his offer and making a website. Those are the only two things he did for 7 months, nothing else. Just making sure this color looked good and that this copy looked good. And after that point, I just said, look, I'm just going to build a website for you because I see so many coaches get stuck in these details. Why in the world am I talking about email? Why am I talking about website? We're going to be judged constantly by the people, whether it's conscious or whether it's subconscious. And so there's a bunch of little things that you can do, getting a professional email, having a super basic website built, all of these different things that you can do that just puts you in the ballpark of, okay, yeah, actually, you know what? Perrin actually seems legit. It's not he's just some guy like working in his garage and he's never really helped anyone. No, he seems legit. Even if you've never worked with a single person, I'm not saying a lie. I'm just saying it's how you present yourself. So coming back to your question, Caitlin, how do you decide what to put in your free program versus in your paid program? A lot of coaches are afraid of giving away too much, of making it so that they don't go ahead and help. I should say that people have everything that they need and therefore they don't buy their coaching. I'll be fully transparent with you guys. Like this stuff right here that I'm talking about, this is the same exact stuff, except like I told you, I have an Excel sheet and I'm playing it out with my client, the guy who just started 3 weeks ago, who paid me $10,000, right? Plus all these different things. I'm honestly laying out the same exact stuff. I have no problem going ahead and sharing this with you guys because I would love for you guys to come here in the community, get so much value, start making money with your coaching business or grow your coaching business. Why? Number one, because the whole foundation of this entire coaching community is to provide value, to empower coaches that have real expertise, that have a genuine care for helping others, and give them the platform and the tools they need to help more people. Right. So number one, from that perspective, if you guys are really going to helping people, I want you to help as many people as possible. And I only have so much time. Right. That's number one. Number two, Perrin, if you go ahead and you take this information that I gave you today and you make $10,000 in the next 30 days, the probability that you come back to me and are like, Chris, you're awesome. I want to work with you. Let's get this to 30. Let's get this to 100, however much it is a month, is much more increased. So coming back to it, what do you include in your paid community and your free community? You have to remember, you're going to be judged on everything that the prospect sees about you. So I'm not saying for you to go ahead and just hop on free calls. Like, for example, I have this call right here where I'm sharing, honestly, everything that I know about it. Like, I'm literally giving you the stuff that I've paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for, that I've helped coaches sell millions of dollars for. This is the stuff that we do. It's not rocket science, like I told you. So with that said, people have different opinions. I would recommend go ahead and give as much value as you can to people, because if you try to hold back or something like that, they're going to judge you based off of your half-assed, half-done video, your half-done training. I'm not saying you need to overload and tell everyone every single step. I unfortunately sometimes have a tendency to try to give a lot of information. That's why if you notice, I've a couple of times I said, hey, does this make sense? Is this valuable? Right? Because I'm trying to really give you the whole picture rather than just the one piece. So that would be my answer of go ahead and give a lot of information in on it, and also make it in a way that you can justify it. Like if you notice, the way that I can justify continue to put content and more on the stuff into this, if you notice, a lot of these videos that we're doing right now is the videos that's going to go inside of the community. Right. So I don't mind it, because here's another thing too. A lot of calls I have from people, and whether it be you guys, great. If not, I wish you all the best. And I hope that you continue to get success. A lot of people that get on these calls are like, Chris, wow, this is awesome. I want to work with you. Let's have a call just to go ahead and see how, because like I told you, I'll get on calls for 30 minutes with people and break down their business. Here's what you got to do, X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. But same exact thing like I told you, I'm at the end, I'll be like, hey, of course you can do this yourself. If I could help you get there faster or more higher probability of succeeding, is that something you'd be open to hopping on a call and chatting about as possibly partnering to do this? And people typically do that. So I hope that answers your question when it comes to a free community versus a paid community. You added another comment in here. For me, my biggest areas of struggle are copywriting and knowing the phrases that convert in content. Okay. So what I would recommend is, if you're saying that you're not great in copywriting, maybe go ahead and find a coach, find someone who can help you in copywriting. That's number one. Number two, you could also do it just by putting messages out there, by getting to know your ideal client. That's why I love communities. That's why also, the more you understand your ideal client, the easier everything gets. Your marketing, your sales, your delivery, all of it. Because when you can really understand, and no joke, the first thing that I do when I work with people is I go ahead and I have them fill out an ideal client sheet. I get extraordinarily detailed. How old is this person? Do they have kids? Are they married? Did they go to school? What are their worries? What are their challenges? What are their goals? What are their dreams? What social influencers do they watch? What TV shows do they watch? What are their favorite quotes that they like? Everything. I want to know my ideal client. I also give him a name. Let's call him Bobby. I want to know what Bobby's doing on a Tuesday night at 7 p.m. I don't know what Bobby's doing Saturday at 9:30. Of course, I don't know exactly, but I want to really get a strong understanding. Okay, awesome. Nice having you here, Caitlin. But that'd be the biggest thing that I would go ahead and recommend. I know obviously Caitlin's about to jump out and you're here as well, Perrin. But the more you can understand your ideal client, the easier it gets. So cool. I know I could probably keep going and talking about lead magnets and everything like that. But to recap, and then I want to flip it open to any additional questions you have, Perrin, and anything. So we're talking about getting more leads, having the leads cost less money, and we're doing that through lead magnets. We talked about, and it seems like you've been around the space, you listened to Alex's stuff. So it's kind of probably stuff that you've already heard. The biggest thing for you, if you have a good understanding of this information, I'd recommend of getting statistics and getting understanding where's the real hole in your boat. Because if you really know all this information and you're not making 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000, unless maybe you just started, I know you say you're just kind of getting into it, then it's a matter of you either don't have the right information or you're not have the right amounts of implementation or in the right way. So then it's just a matter of looking at the statistics and understanding, okay, where's the problem? Where's the hole in the boat? So lead magnet, generating more leads, decreasing the costs. We talked about really the foundation of all of it being your ideal client. What do they deem to be valuable? I gave you the examples of a couple different ones: ebook, free training, community. You could do a free challenge. You go to do a free strategy call. That's another form of a lead magnet, where there's a lot of different ways that you can go ahead and go about it. So that's what I have for you for now. Any questions that you have for me?
No questions at this time. Thank you.
Okay, absolutely. I'm very, I was going to make a joke about it, but I'll say I'm a little thorough in the way I like to do things. And sometimes I have a tendency to get extraordinarily, because I want to try to give as much value and share all of that, sometimes to the point where it may overwhelm. So the biggest thing that I'd say is, as you're looking to get into this, 30 to 50, understand who your ideal client is. Like, what is the biggest problem? What's their biggest struggle? What's their biggest worry inside? What do they think to themselves?
Right.
And then make something that says, hey, look, here's how you can overcome this. And whether it be in the form of an ebook, whether it be in the form of a 30-minute free training, whether it be in the form of a mini course, whether it be in the form of community, whatever that is, do that. And then it's just a matter of, okay, now you have your lead magnet. How are you going to get eyeballs to that? We talked about the different ways: content, outreach, ads. And then from then, we look at our statistics. You get leads coming in. How many are you getting in communication? How many of them? And maybe you don't have a value call. Maybe you should go straight to a demo. You could do that too. That's your call. But it's just working the numbers and working to improve it from there. So,
okay.
Anything else that you would like to discuss before we go ahead and wrap up?
Not today. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Pleasure meeting you, Perrin. Best of luck with your coaching business as you look to go ahead and get started. If you do have any questions, please drop it inside of the community. Go ahead and make posts about asking questions, whether it be for me, the other people too. We'd love to support you in any way possible.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Of course. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Hey guys, I wanted to tell you that you are the true coaches and the real students. You made it till the end of the video. Do me a favor, share this with a friend who wants to go to another level. Also, make sure you like the video, comment below so I know who you are, subscribe, and turn on your notifications for the channel, as we will be dropping more valuable content every single day. See you soon.